Thank you for tuning in to 5-Star Tips, where advisors can hear time-tested methods and proven strategies that top practices are using to achieve exceptional and sustainable success. We invite you to listen, take notes, and apply these methods to your practice today to generate better results tomorrow. Your host, Ken Unger, is the founder of the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors. Ken is the industry's leading coach and trainer for mid to high-level financial advisors with almost 40 years of industry experience. Ken has trained more high-level success stories than any other coach. Ken is a thought leader for advisors who are looking to grow and run the industry's top client-centric practices. If you are ready to take your practice to the next level, stay tuned.
Hello, everybody. This is Ken Unger, the founder and lead trainer at the APFA, Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, and I hope you're sitting comfortable today because we've got a real treat for you. With me today, I've got somebody who's remarkable, somebody who's going to share with you things that I think can not only help you, but possibly change your life. You know, I've got today Dean Hedeker. Dean, for those of you who don't know, is with one of the premier wealth management firms located in Lincolnshire, Illinois, which is a short suburb right outside of Chicago. Dean is one of the best financial advisors in our business, and he's built an unbelievable practice that has sensational results with remarkable things. Now, I've known Dean for a long time. He's been in our coaching program for almost 15 years, and I think what Dean prides himself, like most of our members, is by putting clients first. I know one of the things Dean really is concerned about is having that honest and high-level conversation with prospects and clients. I mean, when you take a look at what it takes to be a high-level advisor, you need trust, you need sincerity, and you need substance. Those three words describe our next guest. I am so excited. So with that, Dean, are you on our call?
Well, thank you, Ken. I'm honored to be on the call, and you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, this business and the financial planning industry is all based on trust, and it's based on saying what you do and doing what you say. And if there's any one thing that I see where people have issues or problems, it's exactly that. And so I've learned a lot from you and your organization in delivering that kind of service.
Well, Dean, can take us back. Let's talk a little bit about you and I met. Take us back. When we first met, what did your organization look like? I know you were restarting, so to speak, restarting your second venture in this business. Take us to today, what your organization looks like.
Well, yeah, when you're absolutely right. When I first started, when I first applied for APFA, at that time they had a application process where you had to report that you had a certain number of assets under management. I think it was that you had to have 20 million of assets under management. Of course, I didn't have $20 million of assets under management, but what I wanted to do is get into the group. So, truth be told, and I'm sure, Ken, you can throw me out of the group now, but truth be told, I kind of fibbed a little bit on the report or on the application to get into the group. But I can say this, that at that point in time, I always wanted to be in a room full of people who knew more about the business or were more seasoned than I. And I was able to get into the group. It was absolutely a pleasure to be in the group. And today our firm manages about $260 million of assets, clients all over the United States, actually all over the world. And we have a total of 9 employees here at this office. So it's been a great ride.
So Dean, you're talking about, and once again, I've had the luxury of having a front row seat to watch you grow from less than 20. I don't know exactly what number you're at. And it's funny. I remember you talking with me about that. And you said, how's he going to check? What's he going to do? So, back then we used to talk about, we wanted someone who had at least a team member to delegate to, had, some revenue coming in so they felt comfortable in the business. Obviously, it's not a program for newbies, but, you've grown this thing to north of $250 million. You got 9 people. You got a great team. Let's talk about, I know one of our core promotions is systems. Systems. What are some of the systems that you've implemented from our program that you feel helped you elevate to this top producer status you're at?
Well, the systems are, and the interesting thing about these systems is really the biggest issue here is implementation. But the systems are actually, the newsletters we get, which we use every quarter, the marketing, the seminars or the presentations that we use for our clients, the materials we use in our client meetings. Those are all developed by APFA. And those are all phenomenal materials, gives you the structure to build a financial services practice and gives you a structure for effectively communicating with your clients. And that's exactly what built our practice. If there's one out of all the groups, this is the group to be in.
Well, Dean, and I thank you. I know we talk about, heavily, at our sessions, because you've been going for over 15 years, that a top advisor needs to offer comfortable points of entry for prospects. And I know you take our newsletters and our monthly informational pieces and you call it Capital Magazine, for example, is your brand. I know you offer the workshops for clients where they can bring friends. And you just make it so very comfortable for people to enter. But then, when we get down to it, let's talk a little bit about your review process. Because, I find a lot of people tell me, not the people in our group, they have trouble even getting clients into reviews, or what should they review? Have you set up a review process that's repeatable? How have you done it?
Yeah, certainly it is repeatable, but the key thing is to make the review something that clients want to go to. If the review is just to say your portfolio is up or down X percent, any client can look that up. They can look that up on the internet. They don't need to sit down with you and waste their time to hear you talk about that. And so what we get from APFA is the materials that relate to issues of the day. For example, right now we have the Secure Act pending, any tax act. Those kinds of things impact on our clients' well-being. And we talk about the Secure Act or the tax planning. We also talk about what's affecting the economy. These are all things that we get from APFA, and these are things that make the meetings worthwhile for clients. If all the meeting is just talking about performance, it's really not. If I was a client, I wouldn't want to go to that meeting either. I don't need to waste my time on that. So I think it's the ancillary information that you provide, Ken.
Well, and Dean, I want to stay with that subject for a second, because I know one of the things that makes you so attractive, so to speak, and so sensational at what you do is you add value. You add value at client levels, you add value at prospect levels. And so, once again, I just want to ask you, do you use tax planning, that is, not tax prep, but tax planning as a proactive service to separate you from other advisors? What do you think?
We definitely do, and I think it's very, very important for any person considering getting into this business to do that. I think tax planning, because here's what's happened in the tax industry. What's happened previously, the tax planning advice was delivered by CPAs. And what's happened over the years is that all the software packages that are out there enable people to do their tax returns themselves. As well they should. Why should they pay a CPA all this money? So what happens is we have a lot of people, prospects who come into our office, who've done their own return for years, and they do a great job preparing their return. But that's not the issue. The issue is the tax planning. And how do you handle things for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Probably one of the biggest issues for retirees is what monies do they pull out during retirement? What's the most tax efficient? These are all things that are covered at the APFA meetings.
Well, and Dean, I know you agree with me, because we've talked so many times when we talked on our one-on-one sessions about financial advice is a journey, not just a plan. A plan's always going to have, it would be so nice if accounts went up 7 to 10% based on what you picked every single year and just compounded simply. And, all these things that you could pump out with software. But life's not a software program. 1 month the market's up, 1 month it's down. Next year, every year's results are a little bit different. And so I think, one of the things that I always appreciate about guys like you is you're a lifetime learner who's always adding value to help people at different points in their journey. Like you mentioned, the upcoming Secure Act. So you got some people that are impacted by that. There, last year when they changed the entire tax rules, estate planning, always changing, always evolving. People's net worths, their situations, always changing and always going. So, can you give examples of perhaps some of the changes that you've made or some of the things that you discuss? How do you?
Well, first of all, I think the thing is that if all we do is plop a financial plan on a client's desk or give a client a financial plan, the problem with that is the financial plan is obsolete the minute you put it on their desk. So I think the thing is, and you're right, it's the continuing consulting that goes on. So, for example, we had the Tax Act, 2018 Tax Act. Well, what we did is in the fourth quarter, we were running tax projections or talking to our clients about what steps can they take to take advantage of the Tax Act, because what was happening was clients were losing their ability to itemize deductions, and so because of that, the steps they needed to do is either do donations out of their IRAs, accept donor advised funds, or prepay their real estate taxes. All these things we talked to clients about in the fourth quarter, just before the Tax Act took effect. And the thing is now, with the Secure Act that's going on, or to talk about it, look, the thing is they're talking about delaying the starting date for required minimum distributions, and the other things. The big thing is we're making our clients aware of this. And I think that's what separates us from our competition, because the competition, to my knowledge, what they do is they say, well, we diversified you and you're up X percent. To me, that's just the start of it. What you got to do is talk about the taxes, the estate planning, how the accounts are titled, beneficiary designations. This all impacts in the area of financial planning. And truly, it is a journey. It's not static. It is totally dynamic. It's not just about rates of return.
And Dean, you bring up a great point here, because I know some of the great advisors like you are ones that have what I call honorable conversations that add value. For example, you could sit down with a client and talk about things that don't show up on a tax form or a financial plan, like donor advised funds, QCDs. Should we convert and fill up brackets to different types of retirement plans, converting to Roths? Should we fund IRAs for children or beneficiaries? And that's not going to show up. Should we fund grandchildren's IRAs if the grandkids are actively working and making income that's reportable? I mean, these are the types of conversations. How do we pass wealth on? How do we move wealth? That it can't be handled by a computer. Would you agree? I mean, could I just go punch a program and say, okay, how's the best way over the next 20 years to make sure my legacy is kept as best as possible? Is there a button I can push for that?
Well, I think the thing is this. Yeah, we always have to differentiate ourselves. And the minute we can be replaced by a computer, we should be replaced by a computer, because we're not adding any value at all to our clients. But the thing is that, yeah, it's a continual process. And the fact of the matter is, like when you talk about these Roth conversions, for example, I mean, we've done a ton of Roth conversions over the years. And I'm actually proudest to say I have a client where she converted over the years basically $300,000 of IRA money, paid $45,000 of tax to convert. And now that Roth IRA is worth over $750,000. I mean, these are all some of the things that we learn at APFA, and we all support each other. It's a very helpful organization. People call me up and ask me, how do I do this or how do I do that, and vice versa. And so it's a great collaborative environment, and I really, really enjoy being a member of APFA.
Well, and I thank you for that, Dean. I know, like you said, we have a community of like-minded people who enjoy sharing. We got a group of very successful, some of the best advisors in the country. But one of the things we talked about at our last session was there's a lot of press saying that referrals are dead. Clients are no longer giving referrals. I I guess my question to you, and I've been asking all our people that go on and like we do at the session, people are laughing like, what do you mean they're dead? Part of the problem we find industry-wide is 95% of all the people giving financial advice probably don't deserve referrals, and that's probably why they don't get them. They don't add as much value. Do you find you still get referrals, Dean?
Yes, we get referrals, and the secret to that is that, first of all, the first issue is deliver value to your clients. As long as you're delivering value, first of all, you're going to keep your client. That's the first thing. But the second thing is that as long as you're delivering value and you're creating something that's unique, it's going to be something that is referable. And as long as you have a system for delivering that service and presenting that service, then people can bring in their friends. You can make it an environment where it basically becomes a club amongst clients, and they all want to be members of a group or a club. And so these are some of the things we learn at APFA. Yeah, you're right. Referrals are not dead. It's just you have to be able to create the environment so as to get the referral, plain and simple.
And we talk about that, as you know, Dean. One of our theories is to create a referral culture, and that's by delivering value. And everybody talks about delivering value, but as you know, we teach delivering value. We don't just talk about it. Communicating at high levels. What does that mean? Well, we share, tax reports and different things. Communicating on a proper frequency, using things that are meaningful. And so you're right. When you create a referral culture, it's easy to get referrals. Now, I'd love to take credit for your success, but, one of the things I do know is you're the kind of guy, everyone talks to you says, Dean's a fun guy and he's an enjoyable guy to talk to. He's also brilliant. This guy is really, really smart. I know you're shy about it. There's a guy who's valedictorian just about everywhere he's gone. But what are some of the most successful ventures you've had? I mean, I know one of them that I enjoy looking at is your Capital magazine. What are some of the most successful ventures you've had in the last?
Well, yeah. Well, I guess some of the things we do for our clients are things we've had. Yes, we have that Capital magazine that we put out, which is basically your stuff made pretty, so that's great. And then the other thing we do is we do this annual, we do an event. We try to do an event once a month, although we probably do about 9 times a month, or 9 times a year. But we also do a big holiday party at the end of the year for our clients. They bring their kids, and they bring their friends, and we've had cooking class for our clients. And like I say, it's not all educational. You gotta have fun things and you have educational things, and basically all this stuff just creates this environment, and the environment is that people want to be part of something. They want to belong to something, and that's really the environment that we have created. Now, granted, to some extent, we can't create that with people who live thousands of miles away from us. I get that, but on the other hand, they do see the mailings. And they do see what's going on, and so we always have something to talk about with those clients as well. But it's a great environment that we've created, and I'm actually very proud of it. And I've learned it from you.
Well, and I'm proud of what you've done, Dean. I mean, you've built a nice organization. One of the things I hear from some people is, gee, I don't want to get involved in a program like that. Sounds like these folks work too hard. I mean, you're running a multi-million-dollar practice. You got nice bottom line, but tell me a little bit about balance. I mean, is there any balance in your life, Dean, or are you just one of these guys who's, I'm stuck in that office all day? What do you think?
Okay, well, first of all,
you're laughing. I know the answer to this one.
Well, first of all, there is hard work involved, so because it doesn't come easy. But having said that, I do. I make sure to enjoy the fruits of my labor, and in 2 weeks I'll be getting on an airplane for Vienna, Austria, and I'm going to be going on a cruise from Vienna to Budapest, or Budapest, I'm told, I got to pronounce it properly. I was in New Orleans a few weeks ago, relaxing out there. I have a place in Arizona. I go there for weekends. So this is all possible because of the business we've created. And this business is the type where when you're meeting with clients, it's very, very intense, and you have to be on. And then when you're presenting in front of prospects, you have to be on. But there are other times where you don't have to be on, and that's where you need to relax. They need to really balance it out. And so my point is that to get it going, it takes some hard work, takes some dedication, takes some belief in yourself. But on the other hand, you just work at it step by step, and it all works out. It really does.
So, Dean, you would say by being efficient and being someone who blocks out time and really kind of focuses on the business of the quarter, so to speak, every quarter, and kind of aggregates and blocks and takes care of the bulk of what you have to take care of in a focused period, it's allowed you to live a good life. Would I be stretching to say you take more than 5 to 10 nice extended trips a year and kind of enjoy life?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Or would I be underestimating?
Well, let's see. I was in Thailand, half a year ago. Yeah, I've had my share of trips, it's really the things we've learned at APFA really give us the tools so that it can organize an office, and that the office itself feels capable of producing top results. Because it's not enough that I produce top results. That doesn't cut it. What it has to do is the office staff has to be able to produce that too, and they need to have the tools to do that. And with your program, we do have those. I mean, we definitely have those tools, and yeah, it allows me to go. Actually, as a matter of fact, in another month, I'm going to Oktoberfest in Munich, so that's another trip.
So you'd say the CEO training that we give, as well as the training for team members, obviously you'd say you find some great, Christina, your team, they find some pretty good value in that. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. And the other thing about it is that they feel secure asking questions and getting the answers, and they feel secure with the tools you've given them. And I think that's important, because if they feel secure, then they're not asking me. I mean, which is fantastic. But I think that comfort is very, very important. So,
well, I know you strive for, like all the members in our room, operational excellence, and as you know, our goal is for you to be the most efficient practice you can be, which means systems unique to you, not just to us. But they have to be scalable. They have to be efficient. And so could you share with me, what major tasks and services do you delegate? I mean, do you personally? I've got some people say they do everything in the office. Is that the case, Dean?
Well, a long time ago that was true, but no, today that's not true. I don't do it. As a matter of fact, I do very little. Basically, my office points and shoots me, and they tell me where I got to go, which is great. That's exactly what I want. And in these client meetings, for example, Christina will be in that meeting for a section. Brian will be in that meeting for a section, and then I'll be in that meeting for a section. So a client sees at least 3 different people on any given meeting, and my section might be 10, 15 minutes long. That's it. So I've got them doing. It's taken some time to get to that point, but my point is that I've gotten them to the point where they are handling good parts of the meetings. Certainly, clients are paying to see me, but they don't need to see me for the entire meeting. Clients feel totally comfortable when they see a whole team working on their situation. And again, it's simply because of things we developed as a result of going to your meetings.
Well, and Dean, one of the things I think you embody, and so do a lot of the people in our program, is that you're a practice that's intentional. Whether it's your clients or your team members, there's clear paths. There's clear paths for what your clients are expecting. There's clear paths for what employees see as, this is their growth, this is what they're going to do, and this is how they work. There's focused roles for your team. The thing I love about your team is, like many of the teams we work with, everybody's got a focused role, and then there's teamwork. There's that, spirit of teamwork. We all know and respect what each other's doing. And how do we stay true to the core, which is honest and high level, trust, sincerity, and substance for all clients? How do we stay true to that core, deliver value in the highest way possible? And boy, I tell you, if you want to imagine yourself in one of the best places you could be to observe a financial practice, you imagine yourself in Dean Hedeker's office. That is a great place. Dean, along the way, I know, like everybody else, even though you're a guy you're very smart, I know you're not one of these guys who wants to work every hour of every day. You want a great balance in life, and you enjoy life to the fullest, which I totally respect. You do a great job for clients, but along the way, even a smart guy like you had to have some big time wasters. What are some big time wasters that you say, here's some things if I were talking to either my younger self or when I talk to others, here are some things to kind of time wasters to avoid?
Well, I think the thing is that, the first thing you got to have is a staff person that's a good staff person that you can count on. That's the first thing. And if you've got that, then what you got to do is you got to look at what you are doing that you're doing over and over and over again. Because if you're doing something that's over and over repeatable, that's something that you can train. And so the thing is that the repetitive stuff, if you're repeating it 2, 3, 4 times, this is the stuff that you can definitely train a staff member to do, and they can do it. There's no issue at all. I mean, and so, yeah, in my office, they do. They put up all the clients. They handle all the clients' accounts. They handle the cash withdrawals. They handle the tax returns. They even review the tax returns and tell me what tax brackets these people are in. And I mean, although I know how to do it, it makes my life a lot easier, and I can get to it a lot faster because of that. But again, I think the big thing is to have a good staff person who you can trust. And again, it's just like everything else; it's all about trust. And then if you're doing something repeatedly, that's something you definitely want to delegate, and you want to get off your plate as fast as you can.
And one of the things I totally respect about you, Dean, is, each year we ask all our participants to put together their annual operating plan, their longer term goal setting, and their annual marketing calendar. And, I don't have to, we call your office. That thing's in before we ask for it. I mean, one of the things that
I didn't know that.
yeah, and I looked before we even called. I was like, wow. And I see Christina's been there a long time. Christina's been there just about the whole journey. She's been with us.
Right. Right.
And she's one of the first to, plug that in so that, we go into not build, but review. What are we missing? What are some new things that are exciting? What are some things that are happening? When are good places to hold these comfortable points of entry? For example, as you know, a great time to hold workshops for clients and ask them to bring their friends, or when tax law changes come.
That's correct.
Typically, they don't come unannounced. It's not like, oh, tomorrow Congress is going to think about a tax law change. There's always welcome to year. There's always year end. There are great times for anybody to intentionally set up comfortable points of entry where clients can come, bring their friends, or clients could watch them online and bring their friends, or introduce people to you because you're doing, some sort of substantive review for something that's changed. And I think, your practice is just exemplary at being disciplined, getting things done, doing them on a timely basis. I just think, you're part of what I call a success group. How would you describe the community, though? What would, if someone were asking you, what are the other people in the session like? I mean, Ken's always talking about how he's got a high level, real good group of people. How would you describe, you've been coming for a while, how would you describe your peers?
Well, here's what I see with the people that are in APFA and the group that you've created. First of all, I've always wanted to be in a room where there are bigger producers than I am, because you learn from people who've been doing it for longer. And so I will tell you that it's just great sitting in a room where you got billion-dollar practices in there, and you see what they do, and of course, you're not going to get to that level on day one. That's not the point. But the point is that you're in a room there with people who are fairly successful and very successful at what they do. And they all do it a little bit different, but there's a lot of commonality between the practices. And the thing is that one thing is you go to an event, we talk shop, and we talk shop at the bar, and we talk shop at lunch, and we talk shop at dinner, and we get ideas from our friends, and the friends are, these people are basically mom and pop practices, for lack of a better term, but basically small business people from all over the United States who have these great financial planning practices. And there are a number of people in your group that I've known for as long as I've been in the group. And it's great. It's great knowing them. It's great watching them grow. It's great also learning from their problems, because it's not always perfect. And we all talk to each other about issues that we got within each of our practices. And so it's a very, very good, close-knit group of people. And these are people, again, all the way up to billion-dollar practices. Some of the top advisors in the United States. I mean, on the Barron's list or on the Forbes list. Everybody's willing to share. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic.
Well, one of the things, Dean, that I hear sometimes is with smart minds comes big egos. And as you said, we got a couple of people that are number one in their state by Barron's. Not that that's the end all and can all, but it definitely is a measure of success. We got a lot of people that are high up on lists. We got quite a few clients that in that room that part of our community. I consider them friends, not like you, not really clients that run multi-billion-dollar practices. Would you say you're finding that there's too much ego in that room, or not an inability? I mean, I think one of the things that all of you always tell me is, Ken, you undervalue how much we share with each other and how many people in that room are so willing to try to help others become successful. Would you agree with that?
I would totally agree. And for example, I'm on the Forbes list. I don't think anybody would know that I would go walk around. It's not who we are. I mean, we are just a bunch of great financial advisors who have no egos. I mean, certainly we work hard and all that, but my point is we have no we're here to help everybody. That's what we're here to do. I mean, we're just a bunch of people that like to help people. And I think that's, if you look at all these firms, that's probably the common denominator that have propelled all these firms to success.
And Dean, one of the things I love about you is people tell me, they love Dean. Dean sits at the table with the billion-dollar practices, but if somebody's just a newer person to our group, and even in a more of a startup phase with only a couple, 20 or 30 million under management, Dean will share with them a path to get to 200 quickly. Just as much as he'll sit there and glean stuff from guys with billion-dollar practices. So, one of the things that we love about you, Dean, is when you talk about really wanting to have an honest, high-level, sincere conversation with clients, I think you do that with other advisors. So for that, we're lucky. What advice would you give others to grow a practice like yours? A lot of people are asking me, how do I grow a practice like Dean's? I don't, want to just link on to a big shop. I want to be a good shop. I want to be a big shop. How do I grow a big practice like Dean's? How do I grow a 7-figure revenue shop that's really doing well like Dean's?
Well, I guess my advice would be, first of all, you've got to have the educational background. What I mean by educational background, you need to go to like what you have at APFA. I mean, the thing is you have to go into these meetings. I mean, I go to all your meetings. Why do I go to all your meetings? I mean, it's because you learn stuff at these meetings. You learn all sorts of, and so you have to have that foundation, and that's important. Then you have to learn how to communicate that foundation to prospective clients or to employees, and so by going to the APFA and reading the materials and learning those materials, that's your foundation. And then what you got to do is you got to repeat it over and over and over again. And the more you repeat it, the more you learn it, the more you build it. And the thing is it definitely, it takes time, doesn't go overnight. But I can tell you this, when I see the success that's in that room, and I see the people that have created that success, the one thing I know from everybody that's in that room is the way they created that success, including myself, is we just took the materials that you had, we learned those materials, and we probably learned them until we were blue in the face, but we learned those materials. And then the thing is what we did is we had the confidence to apply that stuff into the general public. And that's basically what I would tell anybody. It's just you gotta believe in something, and then what you gotta do is you gotta follow through on it. And if you do that and you do it each and every day, you'll be successful. That's what I would tell somebody.
And you know what, Dean, it's funny. I had somebody else who was telling me, between myself, Bob Keebler, some of the people that speak at our sessions, we're helping them stay current, cutting edge, implementable ideas, good strategies. And so those help with what this person called the 3 C's, which is what I think you just summarized. He said, Ken, basically it's about connecting with people. If you can connect with clients and prospects, if you can be consistent, and if you can have the confidence. So he said it's the 3 C's, really: connection, consistency, and confidence. And then it's go get them, build a practice. There's no guaranteed success rate, but if you can master those 3, and like you said, if you can master, what we're pushing, which is skill set, operational excellence, and how do you market that to both clients and prospects in a proven way. The world could be yours. The world could be yours. And, Dean, one of the things I always appreciate about you is, can I ask you about your practice now? Is it still thriving? Would you use that word to describe it? What would you say? This year, good year for you?
This year's actually proven to be a fantastic year. It's amazing how much business is coming in the door. And I'm amazed. And so it's, I think what it is it's that confidence and doing it over and over and over again, and just plugging away at it. Yeah, we're having a great year, and usually, years like this, where the market's up a lot of times, clients just like to stay with what they got. But what I'm seeing is people are moving. It's a wonderful year. I mean, we're picking up a lot of assets this year.
And it's funny because I'm reading everywhere how it's hard and it's difficult out there. And I'm talking to over 300 practices that we work with, and they're telling me they're having remarkable results. Like, it's amazing this year because, like you said, with what they called simplifying of the tax forms really opened up a new level of, advisors really have to understand tax planning, not prep, but planning. Prep got maybe a little different, but planning became much more critical in the process. Asset location, not just allocation, all these other things, all these other values, estate, and with the Secure Act coming, it's going to get even more opportunity.
Yeah, I would say that the tax planning and the asset location, and then not the asset allocation, but the asset location, where you draw the monies from, I think those are the big key differentiators in any practice. And I think those are the things that, especially like with the tax planning, I mean, like I say, people are not able, they don't access CPAs anymore, so they don't get tax planning. So somebody's got to deliver that, but it's great that we're able to do that. So I think those are going to be at least for the next few years. The tax act's constantly changing. That's going to be important. And then this asset location, where do you draw the funds from? What accounts do you have? And how do you do it? I think those are going to be absolutely critical in terms of retaining assets and actually adding assets to the business.
And Dean, I've been doing this like you a long time. You've been in there over 30 years. I've been there coming up like you, almost 40 years. And I got to tell you, as I've seen the evolution, today's tax person or tax accountant, whatever you want to call the person that someone's going to for taxes, is really more so a tax preparer, not a planner. It's more retroactive. They're doing it after the year. You're keeping your forms and bringing it. It's not someone you go to halfway through the year who says, hey, here's some strategies to think about. It's really, so on the tax aspect, I think, once again, you could add great value. Wealth transfer. Gee, if you got someone who's you get a knowledgeable wealth transfer and you got a smart guy, teaching people how to live honestly on their means and in a realistic way. And then, of course, there's also the investment advice. So when you put it all together and piece it all together, whether it's tax planning, estate planning, any area of wealth management, that's what makes you, I think, one of the premier wealth management firms. You're somebody, who would your typical client be, Dean? What type of
our typical
asset, liquid assets?
Our typical clients are basically people who worked their whole lives, have saved their whole lives, and they're now at a point in time in their lives where they're retiring or are retired, and they realize finally for the first time in their life that they need professional help, or they're not quite sure. That's probably a better way of saying it. And because they've been doing it themselves for all these years. And the thing is that, so in terms of asset base, we're looking at people who have anywhere from $1 million to $5 million. Probably our average client has $1 million or $2 million of investable assets. That's a great client to have, by the way. And they live in a house and drive their cars and go on vacations and stuff. But and most of those assets are sitting in a retirement plan. And the issue there is how do you get those assets out at the lowest possible tax cost, and how do you grow them and all that. And the thing is that what I see is in that group of people who have anywhere from 1 to 5 million, that group is way underserved, and that group is a group that you can really make a difference in their lives, and it's just by just applying these techniques. And so those are the clients we're seeing. Certainly, I have a very large client that's close to 100 million of assets, but that's and by the way, I use the same tools that you give me for them as I do for the other clients. But basically, a typical client is someone $1-2 million of assets. Those are our clients.
So, Dean, you'd say that your bread and butter client, so to speak, your ideal client, and the person you're best helping is characterized as a good saver. It's got $1-2 million. Someone who's lived a good life, but not a luxury life. Not somebody who's running around on private jets and jetliners and owns 4 businesses. You're talking about somebody who lives in just about every community anywhere in the United States, who I agree, who will discover as soon as they meet with you, they'll be with one of the smartest, best informed, highest skill set, operational excellence, great communicators of our business. So what more could you ask for? Anything else, Dean, before, I know anything else you'd want to share with some of the people that are listening?
Yeah, well, I share with. I had this conversation with somebody a couple of years ago, who you and I both know, and he was considering joining the group. And I was just talking to him. We talked for a little while, and I said to him, I really don't think. I don't think it's a decision whether you whether you should or shouldn't join the group. I think you have to join the group. Because if you don't join the group, I think you're not going to get anywhere. Or your growth prospects will be significantly diminished. So it wasn't a question of if he should join the group. It was really we just went through that conversation, and he basically realized that he had no choice but to join the group. And I didn't hold a sledgehammer to his head or any of that. But no, the things you learn at it used to be called MDPA, APFA. Those things that, at least to my knowledge, you can't learn anywhere else. And those are tools that will serve you well in terms of building a great financial services practice.
Well, Dean, I appreciate sharing that with me. On behalf of your clients, who I know are very fortunate to work with someone with powerful skill set, I thank you on behalf of our industry. One of the things I take most pride in is, our collective members are amongst the people in our business who deliver true value, really earn their keep, really helping people, doing remarkable things for clients, making a good living by doing it, because you can make a good living if you're doing remarkable things. And there are people who also, like you said, willing to share, very intentional in design and how they run their practice, but willing to share with others. And we've created a great community. I thank you for being part of it. You know, you've been a great friend. I learned from you folks as much as you learned from me. And I say that every day, and something we all have energy toward and enjoy doing. So I thank you for sharing some time. For anybody looking for 5-star tips, I hope you got some. Now, please, if you like this podcast, let us know you like it. Give us 5 stars for 5-star tip podcast so we can continue to move up in some rankings, and share these messages with others, because our goal is to help others. Dean, I know that's your goal too. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Ken, and wish to thank everybody in this business. They're great. Thank you.
My pleasure. And once again, hopefully some of you will think about taking a leap and calling into our organization to find out how you can hear more of these webinars and see more about members like Dean, who've done just a phenomenal job of helping people. Dean, thanks for your time today.
Take care. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 5-Star Tips. For show notes, please visit www.theapfa.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and share it with a friend. And don't forget to sign up for our email list. For more information on the Academy of Preferred Financial Advisors, please visit our website at www.theapfa.com. That's www.theapfa.com. Or give us a call at 866-866-0472 with any questions you may have.